You guys seem to really enjoy my video I made 2 days ago about revisiting some of Fortnite's best exotic weapons, but I couldn't help but notice a lot of people commented that they wanted me to revisit some of Fortnite's worst exotic weapons and items of all time, and trust me, there are plenty to go over, so let's just get started right away. One of Fortnite's worst exotic weapons of all time is the Boom Heavy Sniper Rifle, and I know a lot of people really love this, so before you come at me in the comment section, just hear me out. I really like the idea of this weapon. It's super cool, right? Like you just shoot clinger grenades, that's it. It's got 5 bullets in a magazine, right? So you can kind of spam it. It sounds sick, sounds beefy, and if you have a lot of heavy bullets, you can have like 45 or 50 basically grenades, right? Sounds pretty cool. My only issue is that the damage just isn't there. 10 damage on a stick, and then I believe it's 75 when it explodes, just is not enough damage for how hard it is to hit a shot. Remember, you're using a sniper. It's not like you're shooting an RPG with a super big area of effect. So you're going to be doing 85, right? You have to hit somebody twice and you're not even going to do 200 damage to them, right? So if you think about it, why not just use a regular sniper rifle and just get that, 100 plus damage per shot per body shot? The only way you're going to see some like super effective use from this weapon is if you hit a headshot. If you hit a headshot, it does 25, and then when it blows up, I believe it's 75. So there's 100 right there. So if someone has no shield, there they go. I will say this weapon does shine in probably trios or squads, but particularly in build mode, right? You can really start to apply some pressure, especially if you have more than one in a squad. But there are very minimal instances where I would consider myself taking a Boom Heavy Sniper over a regular bolt action sniper or a heavy sniper or a Reaper sniper. You get what I'm saying. The regular snipers are just better. And if you want an explosive, just take an RPG, right? I understand it's not in the game currently, but you understand what I'm saying. There's better explosives to use. Next, I want to talk about another super controversial one, and this one is probably going to get you guys angry at me in the comments. This is going to be the Dub shotgun. Look, the Dub is good, kind of. At its base form, just the actual shotgun portion of it, it is a pretty decent shotgun. I was never a fan of the double barrel shotgun, but at close range in someone's box, you can really do what you need to do, right? My only real gripe with this shotgun that really pulls it away, in my opinion, why would you ever want a shotgun that is meant for ultra close range, right? This isn't like a pump shotgun where you can get like a solid 50 damage from like 15 meters away. This is a double barrel shotgun. You need to be in their box 2, 4, 5 meters away from them. So why would I ever take a shotgun that is just going to push me away from my target and make essentially it harder for me to do more damage? I just never understood why they would do that for a shotgun. Look, the Dub is super fun and you can have some really cool moments with it, and of course when paired with other items you can have a ton of fun, especially we saw in chapter 4 season 1 with the shockwave hammer, the Dub. There's kind of bugs, you had the augments, and you could just shoot yourself basically straight in the air, negate fall damage, that type of stuff. It is cool for that. But in my opinion, it is in one of the most competitive weapon classes of all time, that being shotguns, of course. And when the pump is in the game, the tac, other shotguns like that, why would you ever take the Dub over a just basic solid shotgun? In my opinion, the Dub is kind of over-loved, I feel like, and I think we need to bring it down to earth. I think it's one of the worst exotics of all time. Speaking of worst exotics, let's continue on with the Nighthawk. Dude, I mean, what is this? First of all, the scoped pistol is kind of a trash weapon, let's be honest. I don't think anybody really is picking up the scoped revolver, and I really don't think anybody was asking for a thermal version of the scoped revolver. I just don't see a use for this weapon. If you want something scoped for medium to long range, use a DMR, use a sniper. If you want a pistol for close range, just use any other pistol that's in the game besides this thing. I honestly don't have much to say about it. I truly think that this is one of those weapons that should never exist. And if I ended up making a video about Fortnite weapons that should never come back, this is one of them. I just think it's a really poor weapon. Of course, there are some times when like the thermal aspect of it could be really good, but that's very minimal instances. And I just think there's many better options. And continuing with pistols, let's talk about the Marksman 6-shooter. And I wanted to put this right next to the Nighthawk because I think they're in very similar boats, right? The 6-shooter on its own is one of my least favorite weapons of all time. I hate the 6-shooter. I will never pick up the 6-shooter if it's in the game. And so the Marksman 6-shooter is just the 6-shooter, just with more damage on a headshot. I think the Marksman 6-shooter is marginally better than the Nighthawk just because I think you can get lucky kind of spamming the 6-shooter and get a lucky headshot and do some big time damage. But I don't think there's many people in the community who are avid 6-shooter users and love the 6-shooter. So I don't think anybody was really asking for an exotic version of the 6-shooter. So to me, it just kind of falls down the list of some of Fortnite's worst exotics. Let's continue on here and let's talk about the Burst Quad Launcher. I think the Burst Quad Launcher is actually probably one of the better exotics on this list. So not saying much, of course, the better of kind of the bottom tier weapons, but it's actually not terrible. If you don't know, the original Quad Launcher had 4 rockets before you had to reload, and you could shoot them all back to back to back to back, right? But the Burst Quad Launcher changes this up, and it would shoot in exactly what it sounds like, a burst. And if you could land both rockets, like if you could catch somebody out in the open and land both rockets, you could do some pretty serious damage. I think it was around 80 per rocket. So if you could land both back to back, you could do some pretty good work. I just think, unfortunately, this is another example of just picking better explosives. It doesn't really do anything in specific that would make you take it over just a base RPG, let's say. But I think this is similar to the Boom Heavy in the sense of, like, if you have more than one of these in a squad, you could apply some real serious pressure. And that's where a weapon like this shines, right? If you have 2 or 3 in a squad, someone trying to box up or build, you're going to kill them with the Burst Quad Launcher. But similarly to the pistols I just talked about, the Quad Launcher isn't really a loved weapon by many, so I don't really know what the need was to just make a burst version of it, but it's kind of unique. I'll give it that. Finally, I want to talk about the Unstable Bow, and this is kind of an interesting one. The Unstable Bow is really unlike anything we've ever seen, and I will give it points here for creativity. This is a super unique item, and we need to see more items like this. If you don't know, the Unstable Bow from Chapter 2, Season 6, I believe, basically just mimicked one of the other bows that was in the game. So basically, after every shot, the Unstable Bow either became the Primal Flame Bow, the Primal Stink Bow, the Mechanical Explosive Bow, or the Mechanical Shockwave Bow. And it's really cool, right? It does a different amount of damage depending on which bow you're shooting, right? You know, again, I think this bow is a really cool idea, but I just don't think it has a place in the Battle Royale mode. You know, I just don't see many people wanting to get a random bow when you could just have one of the better ones and just have it permanently, aka the Mechanical Shockwave Bow. Again, it is a really unique bow, and if you can get lucky and get one of the better bows, that being, in my opinion, the Flame Bow and the Shockwave Bow, then you were pretty well off, right? But again, it was only for one shot until you switch to the next bow. It's a cool weapon, but in my opinion, not really practical for any sort of like serious gameplay, and that's okay. Not every time, every instance of a weapon has to be serious and competitive. I get that, but for me, it's just the randomness doesn't work, and I think it is one of the worst exotics, unfortunately, because I do think it is a super cool item. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my list for some of Fortnite's worst exotics of all time. Comment down below, did I miss any? Are there any exotics on here that you would definitely take off? I think I'm going to see a couple of comments about the Boom Heavy and the Dub, but that's okay. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe for more content just like this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.